Yo, what's good, peeps? It's your boy DK, aka Smooth the Kid. Hope all is well out there. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope y'all been in your bag lately. If you ain't, I'm here to give you a little update, a little breakdown on what's going on. And if you ain't been paying attention, man, like I say, there's been a lot going on, especially in the political world, which trickles down to the economics of in the world as well. So right now, I don't know if you know. I'm sure you probably feel it. We just had an internet outage to in a extent, right? What's going on with Amazon definitely is causing a whole lot of fuss going on in the market right now. I can't even place no trades. It's crazy right now. So hopefully we bounce back from this outage. But I was just taking a look at the market and just peeping a couple of plays, right? They try their best to manipulate the market as much as they can. And I had a play right here on this Microsoft move. And I mean, it's just clear what's going on here. A whole lot of accumulation here. If you pay attention to it, you get the initial thrust here, pull it back to this down close, boom, push up, pull it back to this down close, and here's the ruckus, right? And we takes off here on this next hour counter. If you pay attention to the previous two accumulation zones, we would have expected another return here to, grab the liquidity before we take off. But with this internet shortage going on right now, which causing a trickle down to Robinhood anyway. Not sure about other brokers, but for sure Robinhood and a lot of us I would say beginners, we use Robinhood because of the simplicity of the whole makeup of the broker itself is very easy to control. You don't have a whole lot of it's don't lag a lot. You don't have a whole lot of other things that could distract you from what you really came on the platform to do, and that just make money. So if you is in Robinhood or if you your Snapchat, anything like that that's associated with Amazon Internet, we all feeling that break this morning, and I just kind of missed a move that would have gave us a good 100% on the call had we been able to take this trade here. But due to the shortage, right, we missed out on it. So we're not going to too much fret on it. It's just how the market goes sometimes. But I also see a possible move here on Amazon, even though what's going on right now, that's not a good sign. I'm sure you got some investors, not even just investors, but companies that's involved that's depending on Amazon to be reliable each and every day. They're probably going to be looking for other options. But at the end of the day, we are what we call predictors. So if we, based off what I'm looking at here, if we can get this counter trend here, we get this broken trend line, which is is not a very solid trend line, but nonetheless, it is a trend line. Or if you wanted to take it a little further, right, you maybe can, put it into one of these type of patterns as well. The channel here, but I'm not too much a channel trader. I understand it, but that's not what I'm looking at as far as what I'm looking at right now. When I see these patterns forming, more so looking to see it continue bullish. I'm not a put person or more or less a seller, right? I'm looking to get into buys most of the time. So we see a trend line break here, right? What I'm be looking for is this counter trend where we kind of see price breaks out of this zone here. And as price breaks out of this zone, what we want to see is a retest of that trend line, right? That's what we want to see. We want to see it break out, retest this trend line, and then give us the initial thrust, right? And if you pay attention, we have this gap here, not that big of a gap, but nonetheless, it is a gap. And this gap has not been filled, right? From a technical standpoint. Well, right now, from a fundamental, I would say a tangible um, outlook with what's going on with the internet, we might start to see Amazon sell off a little bit from this area due to what's actually going on in real time. Nonetheless, of what we see on this technical pattern, which is for me and what I like to see, it is a valid technical sign that gives me that hey, we can continue to see this analysis that most people are looking at, right? This trend line, get it two times, three times, three, four times is normally when you start to see trend lines get weaker or break. And if we see this trend line break and we get a retest of this trend line, I would love to see it continue up, especially Amazon with it being such a volatile, with it being such a volatile pair. We can very well see this trend line be broken and run up here to close this gap, which is a $5 price increase in the stock world. They call that about 500 points. Um, and we can very well see a 500-point play if we can get a bounce with the stop loss just right outside this gap fill right here, because there's also a gap here that can be filled. Nonetheless, very very much so, but it's not that big of a gap as well as this gap that's up here at the top side, which is fine. This analysis it can be wrong. We can be wrong, and that's fine. It's okay with us being wrong. The main thing is having an analysis of where we think price is going to go, and it, we can see this trend line break. All right, I would love to see the continuation, not a trend line break, retest of this trend line to get to trap us retail traders and continue up. If we see price starts to push down back into this gap area, really the break of this, if we break this low here of today's, which is today low, then yeah, it's time to get out of there because it's going to, no telling what it's going to do at that point. We want to sit back and see how it's going to play and maybe get back in the trade after we get a stop loss here. Um, and then it could take off and go exactly what we think. I've seen that done plenty of times. We don't control the market. We just react to it. And this is my synopsis right now. It looks pretty good for a call option, man. We continue to see it breaks out of this trend line. So that's my thing on Amazon right now with the ruckus that it's causing with the market, especially. Like I say, I had some plays set up, but with all that, it throws it out of the door. Too risky to be taking that type of trade, and you can't rely on your broker, right? Everything is kind of bouncing around, and that's not a safe environment for a retail trader. 'Cause we might need to close our trade fast. Um, Anything, right? Our analysis can be broken at any given time. Versus if we was buying shares, we could take more of that fluctuation of price. It wouldn't be such a ruckus because we in it for the long game. But when we day trading, we in it for a short time. We're not in it for the long run per se when we trading options. So yeah, just kind of scanning through right now, see what else that I do see. I do want to take a look at Bitcoin. Um, it's on the move right now, but I want to show y'all this on a higher time frame, right? This is really what I'm waiting on. I ain't even gonna hold you. It's just like I said, the trend lines, as price hit trend lines more than once, more than twice, three, four times, that particular trend line started to get weak. So what I see here is just the start of this whole breakout, even from this 42. When we cross this threshold and break out, we take over this high, right? And we get here, struggle. This is the start of this whole trend. Even if you don't want to count the pullbacks, if you're just going to take the extension, right, from 53, we'll say the low here, 50,000, all the way up to the high of 125. That is a crazy move, right? And throughout this whole move, right, it's been doing what markets do, creating trends, trapping, basically searching for liquidity, right? A lot of liquidity moves here, here, here. So what I'm looking at right, is to see if we can get this another trend line here. I feel like if you missed it, you missed this 50,000. You missed this 80,000. You don't want to miss this 110. Or if you did miss it, here's your opportunity. I feel like to catch the next big move. Where it's gonna take us, who knows? No, I don't know. I'm just a visionary, right? But we can very well. I feel like we can very well off this next trend line move, see Bitcoin get up to about 150K. That's gonna be the next eye popping price range for Bitcoin, in my opinion. We already hit 125. What's the next whole number? 150. So I think anything else between now and then is just, you know, fluctuation. They trapping price, trapping their liquidity, right? Trapping the buyers, trapping the sellers. And here's gonna be the real test. And I'm not saying that it's not a guarantee that we're going to even bounce up from this area. This is a key level. This is the next key level that we've had since we've left the 75, 80,000 range. And we ran our way up to 125, and we kind of just been chilling ever since then. Well, I feel like with all these stops in here, we had a resistance here, and then we in the same area we've had support come here in this area more than once, instead of making a support in the same area where we had resistance. Not the prettiest, but it's never going to be pretty, especially before that next big move. This was a clean move here. You got the resistance, right? Pull back from the area, break through, and you come back and make support literally right in the same area. Now this was clean, but it was early, right? It wasn't a quote unquote solid trend line. But this move, nonetheless, from one zone to the next was, I mean, textbook. So you get this move, and it's not as clean as this one, right? It's not a clean. I get here, which now this would be, you know, the new resistance area, but it's not as monumental as this one. And now in this area here where you get the major pullback here once, twice, you pull back to this area and then you get back in here, you struggle, right? You finally break through it, get all the way up here to 125. You just now getting the pullback per se since you hit the all-time high back into this area. But like it's like I was just stating, it's not as clean. It's right. And that's okay. The main objective is just to get here to this trend line, right? And just to show you, make sure that our trend line is solid. We're going to show you this is my trend line on a line chart, which is like literally like no wicks or anything like that. This is true price action. We are right where we want to be on price, so we're not being manipulated or anything like that. We directly on price where price closed at. So this is that next area. In my opinion, I would love to see this trend line be respected. If Bitcoin takes off before then, so be it. But from a trader standpoint, I want to see it respect this trend line or disrespect it, either or, because it's a lot of room for it to get to this area right here and literally breaks underneath this area. You can very well break underneath this area, come back here, test this resistance area, and man, come right back here. We can very well see that, like, no problem. So, like I say, I'm not necessarily saying that it's going to um, break out and hit 150, but I can see that. But I, as a trader, as a technical analysis of this, I want to see this area respected or disrespected, which would validate which way I feel like would be the best move. And we almost there. I give it another couple of weeks, maybe 2, 3 weeks. Just based off how close we are to this line, and these are weekly charts, right? So we're not going to get another moved over until this week is over, right? And that could be another two, I would say 2 to 3 weeks, as hopefully we continue to go sideways, right? And once it gets here and makes its move, we get, or whether we get a strong wick to the downside, trap this liquidity here, and we see a push up, or we see them just completely just mitigate all of that and continue down. Who knows? But I feel like, man, this is the area to pay attention to because some Bitcoin is not as complex as you make it, as we try to make it seem, right? Most of the moves that Bitcoin has made, it was clean as a whistle on the chart, and this could be another one of those times, man. And just as a person who's into this space, of course, we want to continue to see it go up, but you also have to understand the flip side of that. We also make money off of price depreciating too. So you don't have to always see it go up. But this is a good area, especially if you got altcoins like if you got other coins like SRP, Solana, anything that you already in a sense has been loading up on, or some new coins that you want to load up on, man. I feel like now would be the perfect time to start gathering the eggs in your basket, because once Bitcoin get over here, man, and it makes its decision on it's going bullish or bearish, I feel like we stand a chance to be in a good position, whether Bitcoin goes down or not, especially if it ends up going back down, which gives us even more of opportunity to continue to collect those eggs in the basket. And so that's my analysis on Bitcoin and what's going on in the market right now from a technical standpoint. From a fundamental standpoint, we got the government shutdown. We got all these things that hopefully is not affecting you in your personal everyday life, but it's here. We dealing with all of the ramifications of what's going on in this political space. It's very toxic right now. That's on either side, right? It's just a lot going on that we haven't experienced too often in this, especially my generation, with the public of disarray of what's going on in just the world. Not so much particularly in the United States, which I'm referring to, but just crazy right now. Some of the things that we see on our phones and on our TVs that we normally back. I know we wasn't exposed to that like that, right? You had what you had on certain news channels. That was it. But now you can uh instant pick up your phone and do research, or just you ain't even gotta do research. You could just be doing something else and an ad will pop up, and it's something about what's going on in the political space that I feel like we all need to be paying attention to, especially us. They're actually doing a lot of things that's trying to, in a sense, take away rights that was fought for, bled for, that just give us the opportunity to just be able to exist, the bare minimum. I'm not gonna get into a history lesson of what I would love to, but just on a surface, right? You have to take into account of how we got where we are. No one snapped their fingers and all of a sudden we was treated as equals in this country. Like uh, ignoring everything that was going on before the the civil rights movement is to me is just a level of ignorance that I can't respect from nobody. Black, white, green, purple. I can't respect that. And that's the problem with a lot of what's going on is people forget the past. People love to shit on the past. They love to shit on old people and the sacrifices, or what they did or didn't do back then. Hindsight is always 2020. Somebody gonna be looking at you and what you did, and you know what I'm saying. So I don't be understanding how people try to justify things and don't take into account of the stepping blocks that it took to even get to where you at. Like, it blows me the logic or the failure of logic that people don't use when they have these certain arguments about what they would have done, or what our ancestors put up with, or what they would have done if they was like, it's like, dude. people are real life delusional, man. And it's like I was just saying, you got a lot to do with these phones, man. We can pick them up at an instant, and they can, throw all types of things to distort the truth because a lot of us don't do research. But back to what I was saying is just as far as the political space, man, you need to really be paying attention. I don't care how you feel about powerless or you feel like, oh, the government this, that, and the third, man. At the end of the day, you have to pay attention to history. Governments have been overthrown. All of these things are something that you should be willing to care about, willing to fight for. Like we didn't just arrive here overnight, bro. Like we didn't. Like it blows me. But pay attention to what's really going on out here, man. Don't focus on too much of the distraction because these trickle down economics are happening in real time. And as you see with the government shutdown, and you also see it in the private sector, you seeing it show up, even though this particular administration keeps trying to distort facts or hide facts or just blame it on the last administration. That's all ruckus, right? It's all bullshit. Pay attention to the underlying issue. Follow the money. At the end of the day, follow the money, and you will it'll give you the perspective that you lack into what's really going on out here and how it could affect your household, not just your household, but your neighbor household, your cousin household, your friend. It ain't just about you. It takes a team, a collective to get to the next phase, or to keep things from happening that wouldn't happen if everybody was on one page, one accord. So just pay attention to what's going on in this political space. I will give you some facts, some stats I would per se, but if you can see that, what they say, U.S. government data may be impacted. So shh, it's nasty out here, man. It's nasty out here, and it could get even nastier because neither side is budging right now. Neither side. So take that into account. You know, plan accordingly, but also look for opportunities to ride the wave. Can't beat them, so we got to join them, man. And cryptos is definitely, like I say, as Bitcoin continues to do what it's doing, I feel like that area is going to be the next area that's really really important on the next decision of what crypto is going to do. The dollar has just been weak this whole year. I mean, the fall from it up here since 2025 is wild. Um, and can't blame you can't blame Biden. You gotta blame all of this is with the tariffs and all of these things that's just been going on. And if you pay attention to what Donald Trump saying, he said it. Some of his advisors said it out their own mouth that their goal was to dilute the dollar. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, while you diluting the dollar, you're allowing other instruments that's parred against the dollar to exceed, to accelerate. And as they continue to take away our purchasing power, because obviously that's what it boils down to, we continue to pay higher prices in the store for everything. We continue to pay higher prices for services. I mean, everything that we just think about in our everyday life, that if you think about how the price of it 2 years ago, 5 years ago, versus the price of the same thing, some of it, like if you pay attention, so you go get a bag of chips. That bag of chips used to be like 150 or something like that. Now you paying $3 for the same bag of chips. Literally, me personally, I think it got more air in it than it did before. Like it's crazy, man, and a lot of that has to do with the economic. Like I say, the trickle down economics of what's really going on from the political spirit is a lot of the reason why we have seen this downturn right here. There's a lot of the reason why we have the inflation. It's a lot of the reason why we're literally paying double for everything, rent, you name it. This is the inflation, the dilution of the dollar, the downfall, I would say, of the dollar. People are getting most of these um, expounding economies, right? Russia, the whole BRICS movement is them getting away from the dollar, getting away from our stronghold. And when you have the things that's going on in the political world and making the trustworthiness of our nation even worse. It just makes the acceleration of people getting away from, or countries I should say, getting away from our dollars. It's just rushing the process, and we the ones who bearing the brunt. We the ones who are literally getting flushed behind what's going on. Because at the end of the day, they know what they're doing. They're doing it on purpose, which is why you have seen Donald Trump net worth double, or in a sense triple, since he's been in office. They literally is manipulating this market, man. He did it in his first term. I can't hold you, but not to this extent. Like, not nowhere near to the extent of how he literally out here finessing these markets. So it's crazy, man. Like, dude is who he is. Niggas be talking about gangsters and shit. That nigga a real gangster on me, bro. Bro don't give a fuck about none of that shit you be talking about, bro. Man's be on some whole other shit. So it's definitely something to be paying attention to every day. Cause what he say at the end of the day move these markets, man. So you stand a chance of gaining from the opportunity of him being the way he is, or you stand a chance of losing from the way that he is. So that's just gonna be my little spiel right now. I'm running out of time, so I'm gonna go ahead on and end this video. But I'm gonna drop another one right behind it on some of my predictions and what I think we should be getting into for our next buying opportunity. So stick with your boy, man, for to drop these videos back to back for y'all. So y'all be safe out there. Shout out to you, boy, man.